Website. Hey. Um. Alright. Alright. I got this. Alright. Oh. Appears to be everything is in order now. Hopefully. Alright. But that was annoying. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry for the slightly late start. The restream page just would not load for me. I couldn't get it going, so I was trying to have to manually adjusting the titles, which got annoying. Having to wait for everything to load. But anyway, I'm here. So where exactly did we leave off? We left off with Shannon bringing the witch her lunch, dinner, what have you. And then basically refusing to acknowledge her in any way, and then just leaving. And that's when the witch turned around. I see. Like, I don't think so, no. Give me one sec. Oh, there we are. No, I did not. Yeah. I'll work at putting those on then. Those are pretty cool. Um, Mobile device is really nice for just making posts, but it's really, really not able to make edits to the server, the technical aspect of things. So, I'll do that. All right, cool. All right. Oh, hi guys. Wow, those are pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, I'll put those in. And honestly, they fit a bit better than some of the Pepe memes we got hanging around there. All of those, except for the two I commissioned, Sylvie and Marianne, are from Spooky. We just put them there because we didn't have anything. Anyway, but yeah, thank you for that. I'll definitely toss those in there. always fun having more personalized, more interesting, and ones people actually care about. I'll keep the kitten ones in. Those were kind of cute, but anyway, thank you for that. It's pretty cool. Alright, back to the story. Yeah, Shannon rebuffed Beatrice having any power over her, or thereabouts. And now the witch is at the table, or thinking. What kind of... oh no. What, a World Cup? Oh yeah, what kind of World Cup did you win? Oh cool, so why you talk about that, I'll get going in the story. It's already a bit late anyway. I see. So the state of affairs is amusing after all. Perhaps I really am still young. This is why I haven't tired of life after 1,000 years. This is the most fabulous part of the family conference. Dinner. In the past, when Kinzo had been serious about the conference, he'd taken everyone's yearly gathering for dinner very seriously, because anything embarrassing that occurred during the dinner would cause the deepest shame for him as the host. He'd given Natsuhi stern orders to avoid embarrassments at all costs. Because of that, she and Kraus eventually hired Goda, who had confidence in his cooking abilities. Thanks to that, they became able to serve wonderful dinners they could be confident in. But by that time, Kinzo had closed himself up in his study and never appeared for dinner. Maybe you'd call that ironic. When the main dish for tonight, calf steak, was set out, Goda began to describe it proudly, further stimulating everyone's appetites. The sauce here is Bordelaise. Of course, the red wine base I used was excellent, even among those made in Bordeaux. But in addition, I prepared an original blend of this house. A blend of choice alcohol from around the world to further deepen the taste. This sauce is limited to this year. I sincerely hope you all enjoy your meal. Isn't that wonderful? My weekend was alright. My brother-in-law got a new game, and he's letting me play it when he's not here. Called Death Stranding. It's a very interesting and unique one. You play as a postman with a baby. That's pretty much it. But not really. Isn't that wonderful? However, isn't Bordelaise sauce common to French cooking? It almost seems like using alcohol from outside France, but that is heresy. Kraus-sama. Today is the annual family conference. As a dinner for those who normally live far away and who have traveled far from across the world to gather together, I realized it would be most fitting to have a sauce made from a blend of fine alcohols from all over the planet that have never met each other before. So I had it specially prepared. Wonderful! A truly wonderful cook, that's what you are. Food and medicine work twice as well if you sell it right. It's already twice as delicious as normal food, as the advertisement makes it twice as good as that. The taste keeps doubling and doubling. Come on, Nissan. That question of yours was obviously a plant. No doubt about it. You totally set Goda-san up to steal the show on that one. You think so? I thought there might be some people here who didn't notice that today's food was in the French style. After all, Eva just said that avoiding butter was a virtue, but that's the Spanish style. Well, I guess they do share a border, right? That's not what I meant. Will you please not take a part of the conversation out of context and mix stuff up? It's a very delicious sauce. Goda-san, you certainly are amazing. It is a great honor to receive your praise. And this is all thanks to Madame's habitual guidance. No, it was all Goda's idea. I only listened to the recipe and approved of it. It looked like the siblings quickly got into a loud argument about the sauce. But for the most part, dinner proceeded peacefully. However, a certain question they desperately wanted to ask burned inside each one of them. It was about that visitor, the 19th person, the Golden Witch. In actuality, Eva and Rudolph and the rest were very much on their guard during this meal. And if the mystery guest was ever going to be introduced, this dinner table would be the most appropriate place to do it. However, no place was set at the dinner table for the witch. The family conference would begin in earnest after the meal, and previous experiences told them that it might last until deep into the night. However, they couldn't imagine why such a person should be kept hidden until that late, if they were going to be introduced in the end anyway. So, Eva and Rudolph and the rest were starting to feel a certain suspicion. Perhaps this guest was unknown even to Kraus. If this wasn't an assassin called by Kraus to give him an advantage in the inheritance problem, then maybe they should speak frankly to Kraus beforehand, creating a common front to resist anything disadvantageous to the four siblings. If she was Kinzo's assassin, whose purpose was to keep the inheritance from being handed over to the four siblings, the enmity between Kraus and the other siblings could only become a weak point that benefited the enemy. Well then, please enjoy at your leisure. When he finished explaining the reasoning behind the table setting and the cooking, Oda tried to leave the room, but Kiri called him to a stop with a small voice. Yes, Kiri-sama. What is it? Please excuse me. I was under the impression we had company today. But can we expect to be joined at the dinner table? He had planned on saying it nonchalantly, but unfortunately it reached the ears of Natsuhi, who was sitting in the next seat over. It seemed that Natsuhi had heard it as, even though the guests are here, why hasn't the host come to dinner? In other words, that Kiri had asked whether Kinzo was going to join them for dinner. The family head is not at his best, so he said he would take dinner in his study. I believe my husband explained that in the beginning. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. Natsuhi's reaction instantly told Kiri that this unknown visitor was also unknown to Kraus and his wife. Which meant, on the chessboard inside Kiri's mind, she could hear the clattering of the pieces as they rearranged themselves. What do you mean we have company? Battler, who had been sitting next to Natsuhi, seemed to have heard Kiri's words without misunderstanding them. Thinking it strange that someone else would be invited to today's family conference, he spoke up incredulously. And thanks to that, the uncomfortable feeling building in the siblings' chests suddenly exploded. Everyone looked at Goda at the same time. Judging by their reactions, it was clear that no one here had invited that mystery woman. For an instant, Goda was startled to find everyone's gazes gathered on him, but because of his naturally vain personality, this actually gave him a feeling of superiority. Therefore, he answered in an extremely calm and graceful manner. That is correct. Our guest wanted to eat alone in the VIP room and is being served there. That extremely graceful and reasonable response of Goda's made it obvious to everyone that a 19th person, a visitor, existed. The VIP room? A guest? What? Who are you talking about? Natsuhi's words echoed the question that everyone who didn't know about the appearance of Golden Witch was thinking. For a while, Goda was disoriented, caught completely off guard by this sudden interrogation. This was a guest who had been treated with such deep respect. He hadn't imagined that Kraus and his wife might not even know about her. The guest is... of... Beatrice-sama. Beatrice! See? Beatrice came! Ooh. Maria had been telling the other cousins over and over again that she had met Beatrice that day. The cousins had answered flippantly, but they hadn't believed. So, their eyes grew wide. Sorry. I totally thought you were joking, Maria. So, she really was there. By Beatrice, you mean that Beatrice with the gold? Oh, I've been saying she exists the whole time. No one believes. Sorry, Maria-chan. That's not how we meant it. After learning that everyone had doubted Beatrice's existence, Maria, who had been in a good mood all day, completely lost her temper. George, who sat in the next seat over, tried frantically to calm Maria. Goda. Is this some sort of dinner entertainment? Quite a performance. Aniki, quit playing dumb. You called her here, right? Called? Called whom? From where? Nissan. Let's be clear about this. Who is she? Surely you aren't going to tell us it really is the Beatrice from that portrait, right? I don't have a clue what you people are talking about. Goda, you really aren't joking? Right? I was just ordered by Genji-san. Call for Genji. Immediately. When Natsuhi yelled, Goda sped out of the hallway. The sound of the door being thrown open was the spark that suddenly set the dinner table ablaze. So, you're saying you're in the dark too, Aniki? Who called her? Was it Dad? I don't know anything about this. It seems you people think I've been pulling the strings behind the scenes. That's a huge misunderstanding. Calm down, Kraus-Nissan. We've gone past the stage of skirmishing with each other. If you're saying even you don't know this mysterious person, then something crazy's going on. Hideyoshi-san, can't you be a little more discreet with your words? My husband would not invite unnecessary people to the family conference. Obviously. What are you people talking about? Are you saying the witch of the portrait has broken out of her frame and appeared? It's not as though anyone's actually met this witch face to face. I met her. Eva and Rudolph nodded at Rose's proclamation. I met her too! Uncle Kraus, believe it! Believe Mama! Ooh, ooh! The brief tension was broken and Maria also started to make a ruckus. By now the room was thoroughly wrapped in chaos. I don't have a clue what's going on. So what does it mean? Does it mean the witch who gave Grandfather the gold is showing up as a special guest this year? But is that really true? Aunt Rosa didn't see it wrong, did she? I met her too! Aunt Rosa, are you sure? Yes. Maria and I met her, and we even talked to her. I met her. That was definitely a witch. Believe me, I definitely didn't see it wrong, or hallucinate, or anything. What on earth was that? In the instant before the typhoon arrived, Rose had definitely met a witch in the rose garden. But the scene had been so hard to accept as truth, that the more she spoke of it like this, the less she understood what it was she had encountered. Ironically, since she was losing her composure, the more frantically she tried to cling to her claim, the more confused and hazy the thing she was describing became. Because of that, it only took a single, calmly spoken sentence to confirm the nature of what she was describing beyond doubt. I also met with her. I greeted, well, I couldn't really call it that. I exchanged a few words with her. It's definitely not something that Rosa-san just saw wrong. Kiryu-san, are you serious? Yes, but she didn't tell me her name, so I can't say for certain that she was Beatrice. However, and sorry this is subjective, but since I met her in the entrance hall, I was able to compare her face with the portrait. My first impression was that this portrait has to be hers. This is all subjective. That is impossible. In the first place, where did that woman come from? The only boat arriving today was the one that brought all of you here. Was she on that boat? Well, it's hard to say for sure. Of course, I don't remember any woman like that getting off the boat with us. Oh, is that all? Can you prove there wasn't a boat besides the one we rode on? You can't. You can't prove one didn't arrive. Makes sense. If another boat did arrive, it might be possible to prove it. If someone saw it and said they saw it, then you're done. But it's impossible to prove such a boat didn't arrive. Even if everyone says that no such boat arrived, that they didn't see it arrive, you can't prove that it didn't arrive secretly. It's that thing that they call a devil's proof. It'd be simple to prove that the devil exists. All you have to do is meet a devil. But it's impossible to prove that devils don't exist. Just by saying that no one has ever met a devil, you can't deny the possibility that they're hiding away somewhere humans can't go. You can't deny the existence of aliens for exactly the same reason. Until humanity searches the whole of space and can show perfectly that aliens don't exist, you can't be sure they don't exist. And it's definitely impossible for us to ever check the entirety of space for the existence of aliens. Therefore, while there may be a number of ways to prove that aliens do exist, it will always be impossible to show proof that denies their existence. So, any discussion about there being a second boat would just be a waste of our time. She wasn't on the boat with us. That much is a fact, so she must have arrived on this island through some other means. That's right. There may be no need to discuss how she came here. What's important is that she's actually in this mansion now, and doesn't feel like having dinner with us. Okay, let's review. Right now, there's another guest on this island, other than the 18 people with the Umineko family. And this is a guest even Aniki and Natsui-san don't know about, right? I know nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Be silent for now. Your headache will get worse. It is as my wife says. I have no idea what you people have been talking about up until now. And there can be only one answer. Father called her here. Called her here for today's family conference. For the family conference? Again, why? I don't know that. I'm questioning you because I thought you might know. Eva, could you give it a rest? Kraus-Nissan said he doesn't know. So here's what we've got. Father stealthily invited the witch of the portrait as a secret guest. And she met with Rosa-san and Maria-chan, and then Kiri-san. That's all for now. If she has something to say to us, she could just show herself right away. Now we've got to wonder why she shut herself up without greeting us. Does this mean Dad, who never gave a crap about this family conference in the first place, secretly called a new mistress here? And had her wear the clothes of this ideal witch? This day is too important for that explanation to fly. There can be only one reason. To join in on the family conference. He wants to claim some right to Father's inheritance. Ridiculous. The family head wouldn't have something as filthy as a mistress. I told you to be quiet. I've lived in this mansion with Father all this time, and I've never heard a thing about something like that. If we stretch plausibility to the limit, and assume Father had an illegitimate child with some mistress decades ago, then maybe Father searched her out and called her here today. Is that what you're trying to say? Dear, it's absurd to think Father has such a child, to waste the noble blood of the Ushirimiya family on a mistress. This is nothing more than a few people making wild claims. It's obviously a fantasy, a delusion, a daydream. Or is everyone taking part in some kind of trick, some kind of act to trick my husband? What act? If anyone's acting, it's you! Quit it, Aniki. Natsui-san may be a bit over-vehement, but she's right. Kiri saw her. I didn't. Neither did you, Aniki. But Rosa did. But that means she exists. There are people who can prove she exists, so we're sure, right away, that she does. It's the opposite of a devil's proof. And I want to meet her too. I want to ask her directly what kind of business she has with the Ushirimiya family. I agree with you on that. I do indeed wish to inquire as to what business she has on Rokkenjima. Don't play dumb. There's only one thing she could be after. Father's inheritance. We should work out our future plans with a lawyer who's got hot on inheritance issues. If the mistress claims equal rights as mother, then our shares will be cut right in half. Wait a second, everybody. Genji-san will come very soon. He knows everything. I'm sure he'll answer our questions. Until then, let's stop talking about this. Hey, you, kids. Sorry, but the adults have to start talking about something complicated. Return to the guest house. Rosa yelled at the children, slightly overcome with emotion. The children didn't understand why they were suddenly being yelled at this time, but even the rest realized it too late. They were talking so bluntly about the filthy topic of the inheritance right in front of the children. Of course they wouldn't want their children to remain. So they all immediately agreed with Rosa's plan. That's right. Just as Rosa-san says. George, take all the cousins and go back to the guest house. You all play nice together. George, do as you're told. Take all the cousins and leave right now. Wait a second. Mother, we still haven't finished eating. Oh, and dessert hasn't even come yet. Oh. We will have Goda-san take dessert to the guest house. To leave. Jessica, from here on, the adults will be talking together. Go. Sure. Even though I'm still eating. Well, guess I won't be the only exception. Thanks for understanding, Battler-kun. But you sure are lucky. Huh? Why? I'd want to leave if I could. I bet. I'll let you adults enjoy your happy family chat about the inheritance. I will also leave my seat. At any rate, it appears my turn will not come tonight. Nanjo quietly rose to his feet. From his seat in the farthest corner, he had been calmly watching the whole discussion without butting in. Surely that reaction of his was very adult, just what you'd expect of a calm, old gentleman. When Nanjo rose from his seat, it ended up encouraging the others who were supposed to leave. The children noisily rose from their seats, and as they hurried into the hallway, the servants returned. I apologize for taking so long. I have called Genji. I was checking to see that all the doors and windows were shut, so it took me some time. My apologies. Come on, children, to the guest house. Goda-san, my apologies, but could you carry the children's portion of the dessert to the guest house? Is that what you wish? Team Goda wasn't amused to see the dinner he'd worked so hard on interrupted like this. He sent Natsuhi a look as though asking her whether that was really okay. Do as Rosa-san says, and it will not be necessary to set out dessert for us. Do not approach the dining hall until we call for you. Tell the rest of the servants to do the same. Understood? Yes. As you wish. Come, everyone. Shall we go? Maria-san, you mustn't trouble your mother anymore. Oh, oh, oh. I want to talk about Byato too. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, oh, oh. Maria-chan, could you tell us about Beatrice in the guest house? I really want to hear about the witch. Okay. Oh? Oh. You're pretty darn smooth, George Nissan. I'm impressed. Are you sure you don't have kids? You're too used to this. George's word had completely restored Maria's good mood. Now she took the initiative, telling the others to head on to the guest house. It looked like Goda didn't like being kicked out himself, but he couldn't disobey Natsuhi, so he left the room with Battler and the rest, closing the door. Is there some way I might be of service, everyone? Yeah, there sure is. We've got a whole bunch of questions. In fact, every one of us does. So much that we almost want to have the lottery to see who gets to ask first. But no matter who wins the first lottery, the first question will be the same, won't it? That's right. Genji-san, answer me honestly. Who is this person called Beatrice in the VIP room right now? She's a witch, obviously. And she's a very important person. Can't you tell? Wait. Honestly, one of the simplest options would have been just to get up and go to the room and see if she's actually there. Right? Plot hole. Or something. Hideyoshi's claim that advertising doubled the taste was apparently right. After being chased out to the guest house, the kids and Nancho had gathered in the cousin's room and were eating the cake that Kumasawa had brought for dessert. It was both wonderful and high class, topped with lavish amounts of cream and decorated deliciously with fruits. But delicious as it was, it didn't taste quite as good for some reason. Without Goda-san selling it, it isn't nearly as good. And if we ask Kumasawa-san to sell it, she'd just say it's made of mackerel. Huh? Really? You can make cake from mackerel? Absolutely. And as you can see with this very cake, if you mix the squeezed juice of mackerel with flour and eggs before cooking, it comes out all fluffy. That'd be incredible if true. Maybe mackerel cake will show up on the new menu at one of Father's restaurants. After all, mackerel's full of nutrients and sounds healthy. It might get really popular with women and the elderly. But I'm not going to get anywhere near it. Girls won't eat something that weird. Even the elderly would wish to decline. But it's delicious, you know. Kumasawa was really cheering up the mood with her classic mackerel jokes. But the sound of the downpouring rain kept turning their attention towards the mystery guest. In the end, they showered Maria with questions again, since she was the only person here to have met Beatrice. You can't believe she was actually telling the truth. You make it sound like, though you never believed it, this Maria meets a witch business isn't news to you. Well, macro may be good, but there are still limits to what it can do. Yeah. I thought it was just one of those fairy tales you'd expect from a dreamy kid that age. She exists. Beatrice exists. Every year, when we come to the family conference, I meet her and we play together. That's right. Although Beatrice-sama doesn't usually show herself, I hear she sometimes unexpectedly appears before honest people with clean hearts. Beatrice referred to that character in the family fairy tale about the Rokkenjima witch. To keep Kinzo in a good mood, the family and servants acted as though they believed in the witch of his delusions. That's how Rokkenjima fairy tale, or maybe ghost story, had come into being. To the family members who knew that backstory, the fairy tale of the Golden Witch wasn't something to be taken too seriously. However, they were never able to say that out loud in front of Kinzo. Because of that, the legend of the witch carried a lot more weight to someone like young Maria, who didn't know the story of how it had come into being. That's why Maria believed in the legend of the witch. She accepted it entirely. That was only natural for an imaginative girl who believed in witches. So people had avoided saying things that would betray her dream. On the contrary, they had worked together to say and do things that would help liven up her dreams without her knowing. So, when Maria-chan was showing us that candy that supposedly came from Beatrice, I figured someone subtly slipped it into her handbag. I have done similar things a few times in the past, secretly placing sweets somewhere. I imagine even Kumasawa-san, or rather, all the servants and everyone in the Shumia family has done it once or twice. So, to make a small, innocent kid happy, you might place a sweet somewhere, and have everyone join in on keeping the secret alive for her. Come to think of it, I'll bet you do that kind of thing all the time, George Aniki. Who knows? It'd probably be boorish to admit to such a thing out loud. George admitted it while being extremely wary that Murray didn't find out. In other words, it's kind of like Santa Claus. To protect a kid's dreams, the parents plot together and lie, setting presents at the bedside of a child fast asleep. After all, you want to protect a kid's dreams, right? Obviously, I've known Santa doesn't exist for a long time now. But if there's no reason to wake up from a dream like that, I wish I could have believed it all my life. Because adults know that the world is filled with terrible things. They all want to at least protect the pure dreams of a child. Oh, Beatrice exists. Exists. Yes, she does. Beatrice-sama does exist, right? Some time ago, when I was drying mackerel to make some black tea, suddenly... Well, it basically goes something like that. Supposedly, at least. So, simply put, this was supposed to be a witch that no one but Maria believed in. I wouldn't phrase it quite like that. The point isn't that we didn't believe. We were all trying to give her a chance to believe. So, this is about not betraying a child's innocence. But Santa doesn't exist in reality. If you don't want kids to be all disappointed when they learn the truth, you'd be better off not showing them that dream in the first place. Is the fact that I think like this proof that I'm still a long way away from becoming a full adult? The true nature of the Rokkenjima witch was finally starting taking shape in Battler's mind. However, their current situation overrode this understanding, and in fact, it completely overturned its very premise. So, we thought we knew what was going on, but now Beatrice-sama, the witch, has actually appeared in reality. Is that it? And, judging by how freaked out our parents were, it looks like she wasn't an invited guest. Now it's starting to get interesting. There's no reason for us to simply assume that a woman called Beatrice doesn't exist. It's what Uncle Rudolph called the devil's proof. None of us knew that a woman calling herself Beatrice existed. But that's not the same as proving that Beatrice doesn't exist. Dr. Nanjo, you've been friends with grandfather for a long time, right? At one point during the family conference, I was questioned quite thoroughly by Kraus-san and the others. They wanted to know if, long ago, Kinzo-san might have had a mistress called Beatrice, and an illegitimate child with her. I get it. Our parents have their heads full with the inheritance problem. So of course, if the daughter of a mistress like that showed up, it'd be troublesome for them. Kraus-san and the rest probably asked Genji-san about it first. However, Genji-san is an aide who's sworn loyalty to Kinzo-san, and is probably a friend more trusted by Kinzo-san than myself. I doubt he told them anything. The next, they went to ask me as an old friend of his. And? Did grandfather have a lover called Beatrice, Dr. Nanjo? He did. No, I have never met her. However, I have heard from Kinzo-san that he had a relationship with a woman like that. He said she passed away a very long time ago. She's dead. So, did the two of them have a kid? That, I do not know. But Kinzo-san always says that reviving Beatrice is the goal of his research. Usually, if one loses a mistress, as a child left behind to remember them by, they pour all of their love onto that child. Therefore, we naturally assume that there was no such child between Kinzo-san and Beatrice. So, that leaves us with another devil's proof. Yeah. It's impossible to prove that a child between him and a mistress didn't exist. And now that this child has actually appeared, we have to assume she did exist, after all. That's a bit of a rushed argument. It's more realistic that someone caught wind of the trouble with Ushimiya family inheritance, knew about grandfather's relationship with a mistress long ago, and impersonated her, trying to take a slice of the inheritance for themselves. Sure, that is realistic. But we can't deny the possibility that she really is an illegitimate child. One who lived in isolation, forgotten by grandfather, and who's returned for revenge, right? Revenge? What do you mean? Sorry. Guys just like to dramatize stuff to make it sound interesting. I've seen too many weird dramas. Normally, that might have come off as a light joke. But the joke had landed after an uninvited mystery guest calling herself Beatrice had marched in on the day of the family conference where the bloody argument that the inheritance had become took center stage. There was no way Battler's joke would be welcomed with laughter. So, it was a really big help when Nanjo laughed brightly to calm everyone down. I see. That does sound quite intriguing. I would love to read a novel with a plot like that. Well, I don't think it could actually work. After all, right now on this island, there's 1, 2, 3, a full 18 people, right? If anyone tries to do something weird, they'll immediately get caught. And thanks to the typhoon, they can't even leave the island. In other words, if you try to commit some crazy crime, you'd be screwed. I agree. In a dead end, without any way to escape, and in a situation where everyone's really suspicious of her, I seriously doubt she could pull off a terrifying revenge drama like that. Probably not. In that case, it would be more realistic if she had come in secret, without making her presence known. I simply cannot imagine someone appearing openly to take revenge outside of some historical drama. Well, who knows, right? Revenge is based on emotion, not logic. You've got someone willing to go down along with their opponent. They may not be afraid of anything, not even the police or large numbers of people. It's okay, Jessica-chan. None of the disturbing things we're imagining will happen. Like the battle royale between our parents over the inheritance isn't disturbing. That's right. Dad and Uncle Rudolph are pretty tough, and Aunt Diva's even trained in the martial arts. We'll be fine. Yeah. Jessica didn't say it out loud, but she'd vaguely noticed that her own father stood in opposition to all the other siblings on the inheritance issue. They usually played nice in front of the children, but when that pretense was lifted away, like it had been at dinner, the result would be a tumultuous uproar. After realizing this, it was only natural for Jessica to be frightened at the thought that her parents might get caught up in some kind of trouble and become human sacrifices for something terrifying. Seriously, George Eniki's right. Nothing's gonna happen. Even if she pretends she's a witch, what can a single human woman who can't even use magic do? You had to say it. You had to say it. Hi, Maria. The sudden creepy laugh made them all jump. And when they realized the strange laugh was coming from Maria, they were shocked again. I see. So that's how you see it, Battler. What is? Don't laugh all creepy like that. You accept Beatrice's existence for now. At least you accept her as the 19th person and a guest. But that's all, right? You don't accept that the 19th person, Beatrice, is a witch, right? Huh? Of all the crazy things to say. Of course that's what I think. Witches couldn't possibly exist. The only possibility is that she's a human woman claiming to be a witch. Isn't that odd, Battler? That's a devil's proof, isn't it? Of course witches don't exist. But just because you've never met a witch, that doesn't mean you've proven that witches don't exist, right? That's right. You're not wrong there. I can't prove that witches don't exist. However, even if I can't prove it, I can claim it. I claim that witches don't exist. Why? How can you claim that witches don't exist, even though you can't prove it? Because things like that don't exist. So that's QED. You finished your proof without any evidence or basis. And there's a typical case of the ignorant willfully ignoring the shallowness of their own knowledge. A reckless suspension of thought. Then there's only one way to resolve this, Maria. The witch's side needs to show some proof themselves. It's a devil's proof again. If you bring me a devil, we can end this right now. In this case, we can just guess this woman calling herself Beatrice to display some wonderful, magnificent magic like the twinkling stars. All she has to do is show us something. That's impossible for humans, right? Come now, you two. Please settle down. Kumasawa noticed that the atmosphere between them was getting worse and tried to calm them. It seemed as though Battler quickly realized that he wasn't acting like an adult, but Maria's expression didn't loosen. As she laughed creepily, she kept staring at Battler. You quit it too, Maria. Let's get back in a good mood, okay? If that's what you want, Beatrice will definitely show you. Something impossible for humans. When she does, you'll believe too, okay? You'll believe in Beatrice. Sure. If she lets me have a look, I'll believe. It's a chess debate between the witch and you, Battler. If you get checkmated, you'll believe in the witch. Oh, I like the way you put that. The witch shows her magic. My king is put into check. I quibble, saying it to be possible to reproduce their feat using measures even a human could take, and my king escapes. Failing to do that would be checkmate. That's a pretty good analogy. In chess, you and your opponent have pieces that move in the same way, so you can predict your opponent's moves. But you know what? What you aren't expecting is that your opponent's pieces might be able to move in ways far stranger than yours. You've simply assumed that, since witches must not exist, the movements of Beatrice's pieces will obviously be the same as your own. But you know what? Sorry, Battler, but your chess partner isn't human. She's a witch? She can move her pieces in ways that humans can't. Right now, your understanding is flawed. Battler, you like Aunt Kiri's chessboard thinking, right? Yeah. I like that style of thinking, where you stand in your opponent's shoes. And that's why you'll get stuck. Even though your opponent is a witch, you won't accept it. So you can't understand the moves a witch might make, and your chessboard thinking won't work. Your knowledge of your opponent is mistaken. The very first premise of chessboard thinking is broken down. Oh, that's your game. You cannot win in chess against a witch. Well, then it's not chess then, is it? That's cheating. Or something. I don't know what happened after that. We servants were strictly ordered not to approach the dining room. I see. So, Shannon, have you ever met this person called Beatrice before? I don't know. That was a slightly odd way to say it. I played a game not too long ago, but yeah, it's been a while. It was pretty fun. We played speed chess, and I made a whole bunch of mistakes and lost, but it was fun. It didn't quite sound as if she was saying her memory was hazy. For us servants, Beatrice-sama is the second master of this mansion. Some people say we've spread that rumor because of the master's influence. But even when I just started working here, the story of Beatrice-sama was already being whispered of. I've heard about it before. If you don't show her respect, you'll get cursed. And at least one servant actually did meet with an accident, right? Yes. But it's true that some people believe more than others. I, believe respect for that sort of thing shouldn't be forgotten, though I have never doubted that she exists. I vaguely believe that a, shadowy being called the Golden Witch existed. And then that witch, whose existence was so shadowy and obscure, actually showed herself and entered openly through the entrance hall. Is that what happened? I don't know. I don't know anything. When you brought her dinner, did you talk about anything? No, nothing. I see. Still, a witch that eats food somehow doesn't sound so realistic. Maybe, after all, it's just someone who knows about the witch legend on this island. Someone who's taking on Beatrice's name. I think we've probably come to respect Beatrice and think of her as something like a guardian god of the mansion. So when a person appeared actually going by that name, maybe you were a little disturbed. That's right. I guess that must be the case. George was slightly at a loss as to what to do about Shannon's downcast appearance. Maybe not just Genji, but even the young servants had been ruthlessly questioned as to whether they knew anything about this Beatrice person. Thinking that, he tried to cheer her up somehow. Surely, just like Maria and Jessica, Shannon was unable to fully hide the agitation caused by the sudden visit of this person calling herself the Golden Witch. He had been so sure that was the case, but George probably had no way of looking into Shannon's heart. Shannon was bitter and sad. The door to the Golden Land would be opened. The witch had definitely told her that. That meant the demise of everything. Even if she accepted the ring from George, they would never be married now. No, in the first place, did furniture like her even have the right to be married? Even if the witch hadn't come to signal their demise, wasn't the relationship fated to fail sooner or later? Had she turned her gaze to focus solely on those fun days spent with George, while purposely closing her eyes to the sad reality? What's wrong? You really haven't looked well for a while now. George-san, what does it mean to be engaged? It means making a promise to marry. But I think in that sense, it means the same thing as marriage. To be honest, I want to take you home as my wife right away. But right now, I'm in the middle of training. I'm still a long way from having the capacity to create my own castle. That's why I want to take you home with me, with my head held high, only after I've become a full adult. I'm not talking about the distant future. I just want you to wait a short 3 years. But that doesn't mean I want to lie about my feelings for another 3 years. So, I decided to give you an engagement ring. That might be a shameful reason as a man. Maybe it's shameful to get engaged because I want you to wait, since I can't support my work and a wife at the same time yet. But I will definitely... Thank you very much. I understand that to you, George-san, an engagement ring means something different than one of many presents you'd give to a lover. Of course it's different. An engagement ring isn't a simple accessory. It's an oath between lovers, a noble promise left in the form of a ring. So, if we were to get married right away, it'd be completely meaningless, right? Then it wouldn't be an engagement ring. I'd give it to you as a wedding ring. Either way, I'd still be giving you a ring. So it's a sold sign, like saying, "This woman is mine. Nobody touch her." No, that's not what I... George knew that he was weak by nature. When he'd been captivated by Shannon and had sworn to become an excellent man, he had also sworn to throw away that weak part of himself. So, even if he had to be blunt about it, he chose to answer a little roughly. He was sure that doing so would bolster and reassure Shannon. No. That may be true. Sayo, I'll make you my wife. I won't give you to anyone else. I'll make you mine alone. So no one will lay a hand on you. That's what this ring is. Without a doubt. Thank you very much, George-san. I'm truly happy. Then, George-san, if it was decided by fate that this engagement ring, that this promise could never be fulfilled, would you still give it to me? Shannon tried to ask that, but she swallowed her words, because George had already spoken the answer. George had said it. He had said that to him, an engagement ring was infinitely similar to a wedding ring. Therefore, accepting George's ring had a significance far more sacred than a promise to marry. So, I'll stop calling this an engagement ring. From now on, this isn't an engagement. It's a wedding ring. Is that really okay? Is it okay to, just proclaim that we're married without even God's blessing? Yeah. It's enough to tell God, Father, and Mother about it afterwards. We'll tell them all that we've been married. No one will be able to undo it. Would we be the witnesses? George-san. I'm not saying this because of a momentary emotion. I'm not just looking at how you are now. I'm looking at the you of tomorrow, of the next day. I'm even gazing at you as you'll be in old age. In the future, as I say this. You're always talking about that, George-san. About how you want to enjoy your old age slowly, surrounded by healthy children and grandchildren. Yeah. At that time, an older you will be beside me. I'm kind of picturing she's just in the bushes, looking at them, waiting for the time to strike. That is what I expect. No. What I foresee. Yes. Because that day will surely come. Will it surely come? Yes. Surely. Definitely. And this ring proves it without words. Please. Show me. Here it is. George, thinking he was being told to shower her the ring, hurriedly took out the ring box. Even though he had practiced so much, he had been able to do it cool. But Shannon wasn't looking at that. In her straight and direct gaze were vague tears and a smile. She focused her eyes on George's eyes. No, on something she could see beyond his eyes. Please, show me that future. Yeah, I'll show you. Surely. I promise it. And not just until old age. After we die too, even when we become spirits, we'll always be together. Shannon wiped away her tears and took the ring box. Inside was a diamond ring worthy of blessing the two of them. George said the line that he'd practiced over and over again inside his head. I want you to put this ring on, whatever finger you like, and have that be your answer. So, by tomorrow morning. Shannon smiled, took the ring, and with completely natural movement put it on the ring finger of her left hand. It really had looked like such a natural, ordinary movement, and for a while George was stunned. This is my answer, George-san. Shannon. No. Sayo. Even when we become spirits, we'll always be together, George-san. There was no blessing from God, no pastor to witness, nothing. But the two were married, proclaimed it. Two souls were joined here today. Maybe. Nei-san, you're a fool. Is that so? Even though you're furniture. Even though you're furniture. I'm not furniture. Not anymore. Liar. Why are you fooling yourself? Even though you know who you can be, you can never become human. Even though you know you can't become human unless you go to the Golden Land. Knowing that, why did you abandon the promise that would let you go there? Oh, right. By accepting the ring, that promise with Beatrice-sama comes to nothing. Doesn't it? I'm sorry. From now on, I, you, George-sama, the Master, and everyone else are under the same conditions. 13 people will be sacrificed. Only 5 people will be invited to the Golden Land. And you rejected one of those places yourself. That's odd. It looks like you're the one with regrets, Canon-kun. You're the one with regrets, aren't you, Nei-san? You got engaged, right? Even though you knew it was a fate that would never be fulfilled. Yes? I promised that we would always be together. For eternity. So you know what? In that instant, our eternity was completed. Even if we become sacrifices, it's already completed. So it's okay. Canon, you're the one who actually has regrets. We're furniture, right? We'll be freed, no matter the result. So it doesn't matter whether we go to the Golden Land or not. And yet, you're set on going there. You want to become human, no matter what, right? Why? Because I want to become human. I've had enough of being furniture. Why? I wanted to fall in love too. Tears were coming from Kenan's eyes, and he howled. I liked Milady, and after seeing Milady that day, I started liking her even more. And when I heard that Milady also liked me, I was really happy. But I'm furniture, and I can't accept Milady's feelings. You're wrong. We may be furniture. We may be less than human. But that doesn't mean that we aren't qualified to love. I thought that if these feelings wouldn't ever come to anything, I'd be better off not having them. I just decided that eventually, I'd disappear, and that it'd definitely hurt her. No, that's wrong. I was just frightened. I was just afraid. Think that any love that couldn't be eternal was best avoided. Even though their lives last only a few weeks, cicadas fall in love and then vanish. But you'll never find a cicada that refused to fall in love, simply because it had ended in a few weeks. It seemed that Canon was still muttering his regrets, but by now it was all jumbled up with his sobs. That witch is detestable. Why did she plant these feelings in me? If only she hadn't pulled that bizarre prank, I wouldn't have paid my lady any notice. Beatrice-sama is detestable. To make you cry bitter tears, she played games with your fate. But I don't think things went as the witch expected. After all, knowing love isn't a regret that ties you to life. It is the destination we're supposed to reach in our journey through life. Well now, Canon, That promise you worked so hard for has now come to nothing. See, I was right. She was just standing in the bushes watching them. Oh, then. With this, the conditions for all the pieces are the same. There are 18 pieces. 13 will be offered as sacrifices. Who will the 5 survivors be? Or else, will someone destroy the ceremony? Who? How? This isn't a chess problem. It's the game on an equal footing. I won't be cornering you one-sidedly. You'll be able to frantically escape my advances and force a tie, an invalid match. At any rate, I doubt you can manage more than repeating that over and over. And it probably won't be that difficult for you. However, this invalid match will continue forever, until it eventually wears down your mind and kills it. That is when you'll accept your defeat and surrender to me. There's a reason I said it was a game on an equal footing. That's because rules for my loss have also been established. There's nothing as boring as a game you can't lose, right? As for how to defeat me, that would be the epitaph that stands as an offering to my portrait. It's both the way to open the door to the Golden Land and the key to destroying my ceremony. I'll try to complete the ceremony in accordance with that epitaph. You'll try to solve the riddle of the epitaph, destroy the ceremony, and overthrow me. Solve the riddle hidden in the epitaph, and expose the location of the vast sum of gold I gave the Kinzo. What result will this game show us? I'm expecting a good fight, okay? Entertain me, Ushiromiya battler. You have a church? I have no objections. Natsuhi and I acknowledge it. I can't believe it. I don't want to. But this is the truth, isn't it? Natsuhi, use your words more carefully. She is this family's most honored guest. I also acknowledge it. Can't argue back. Yes, I acknowledge it. I have absolutely no complaints. I can't believe you actually... You have my honest respect. Me too. Incredible. I genuinely respect you. So I have to acknowledge it. I acknowledge it too. I still can't believe it. Still, what can I do? You've proven devils. It's your victory. The devil's proof was a convenient excuse you liked using to handle unprovable matters. But now it's become your mortal enemy, does it not? Don't torture me, mighty witch. I've already acknowledged you. I resign. Kiri, so you still have objections? I must have everyone in agreement. If you alone will not acknowledge my existence. As the witch laughed boldly, the siblings started getting frantic. They were afraid of displeasing the witch. Kiri lightly closed her eyes and after keeping silent for a while, opened her mouth. My apologies. I resign. Only Kiri had faced the witch with stern eyes until the end. However, this had only resulted in her refusing to accept the truth for a short time. The truth, the being that was before her eyes, couldn't be denied. Devils had already been proven. I also acknowledge it. You are Beatrice, the Ushirimiya family alchemist, and a user of great magic. I must acknowledge the fact that you are a witch. The fact that she accepts as a witch is interesting, and not just that she is Beatrice. Kiri-san doesn't seem like the person that would easily say that. I wonder what happened. Cannon. Oh, nope. Bad guess. I guess in the epitaph. Who do you think will die first this time? Nobody. Why would you think anybody would die? The first one is 6 people. My guess is, if I can rethink that, George's dad, I forget his name, Rosa, Kraus, Natsuhi, maybe Jessica, and the servant. Jessica and the servant, those are the ones I'm not quite. The second day, October 5th, 1986. That's my guess. That'd be the 6th for the first Twilight. Maybe? What is that sound that always fills my ears? Is it the sound of the rain, the sound of a waterfall, or could it be radio static? If not, I want it to be the sound of blood flowing through my body. I want it to be the sound of the blood circulating throughout me, telling me that I am still alive. Oh, hi, Kenzo. Is it morning? The light entering through a crack in the curtain was faint, but it at least told him that dawn had broken. Kenzo, still in the position he'd been when he woke up, still sitting in a chair and looking up at the ceiling, felt the blood slowly travel throughout his body. Judging by the clock, it was early morning, 6 o'clock on the dot. No matter how tired he was, no matter how deeply he slept, he always woke up at exactly this time, as though he had measured it with an hourglass. He didn't think of this as something to boast about, but he told himself that, as long as he could still manage this, his health couldn't be that bad. Morning has come, which means... It would appear I have avoided becoming one of the first sacrifices. Was I merely lucky when the roulette was spun? Or is this the fruit of my efforts? How irritating that I cannot tell the difference, but I mustn't be bothered by such trivialities. Kinzo was struck by a faint desire to see beyond the study door. After all, he might find the traces of someone's vain struggle to break through the door, a sign that someone had tried to select him as one of the first 6 sacrifices. Humans are cheap creatures. Even though everything is ultimately decided by God, when humans are given good fortune, they arrogantly feel it was due to their own ability. That was why he wanted to check whether there was a wretched mark on the door. The very desire was human, and that was why Kinzo did not check. He often rejected desires that came to him because he was human. By doing that, he could be immersed in a feeling of sufficiency, as though he himself had become a being that surpassed humans. He recognized human desires for what they were, and guarded against them. Things that a human would want to do, he resisted. This eccentricity and rebellious nature had surely given him a rare genius, making it possible for him to succeed in his exploits as he revived the Ushimiya family in a single generation. Well then, Beatrice, what were the 6 pieces you took? And what will your next move be? Entertain me. My defense is perfect. I will not shame myself like last time. Looking for my pencil. I don't know where it went to. The servants woke early. They had opened the curtains to prepare breakfast and complete various other tasks to welcome the guests to a new day. Goda was the most enthusiastic. During the family conference, she had been told to concentrate his efforts especially on cooking, and he'd been specially exempted from several tasks that servants normally must do. Goda, who was a show-off, seemed to be feeling particularly superior because of that. He let Genji and the rest prepare the rest of the mansion and worked on making breakfast in the kitchen. Genji split the work with Shannon and Cannon, and they carried out various tasks. Shannon headed to the dining hall and knocked. Last year, the family conference had continued into the early hours of the morning. It wouldn't have been odd if this year's conference had done the same. Considering the possibility that they were still having a discussion inside, she knocked. But there was no response, so she opened the door and said good morning. Good morning. Is anyone there? The room was cold, and the conference seemed to have ended a long time before. There was a tea set on the table from which they'd probably been drinking, arranged in a way that would make it easy to clean up. Cleaning up the tea was the servant's job. If the family members were extra generous and cleaned it up themselves, the servants would lose face. It was truly a pleasant act of kindness for the family to do only this much. As she approached the table to clean it, she noticed something like a memo that had been left near the utensils and cups. Since it was right next to the tea set, Shannon picked it up, naturally thinking it was a memo for the servant doing the cleaning. Written there was not a request, nor was it thanks for preparing the tea. There was just a single word. Shannon looked at it blankly and read it out loud. Chapel. A small sound kept repeating over and over. Normally that sound would have been too trivial to be worth caring about. If only I could stop hearing it soon, I could go back to sleep right away, she thought vaguely. But no matter how much time had passed, the sound did not end. It repeated over and over. Shut up. Who is it? Banging on the door this whole time. As soon as she realized that, she woke up. Someone was knocking. Then she noticed that it wasn't just a knock, but a voice as well. Rosa-sama. Rosa-sama. Good morning. Wait. I'm coming now. It had been Genji's voice. Looking at the clock, it wasn't even 7 yet. It was clearly too early to wake the guests. Did something happen that was bad enough to cause this? She felt her sleepiness increasingly fade thanks to this premonition of misfortune. Though Genji was a servant, Rosa had known him since her childhood days, so even though she was slightly defenseless in her pajamas, she opened the door a crack and answered. Good morning. I apologize for waking you this early. Did something happen? Yes. Actually, that's a chapel. Genji whispered something into Rosa's ear. For a second, it seemed Rosa couldn't understand what she'd been told. After having it repeated several times, she realized that apparently something strange had happened. Rosa closed the door for a second, changed her clothes quickly, and followed Genji towards the mansion. The chapel requires some explanation. It wasn't in the mansion, but in a grove behind it, a short walk's distance away. It had been built at the same time as the mansion, so though its walls had been repaired many times, making it look new from the outside, it was a very old building. Rosa dashed the rain along with Genji. Just like the previous night, the rain was falling in earnest. Eventually, the chapel came into sight from beyond a thin grove. Just looking at it from the outside, it seemed a place of dazzling beauty, where a pair of young lovers might want to get married. However, Kinzo apparently viewed it as a very sacred place, though Rosa and her siblings had been given strict instructions not to approach it unnecessarily. Even though they were all grown up now, approaching the chapel for any reason would still make them feel guilty, and also afraid, as if their father might get angry and hit them in the face. The servant silhouettes could be seen in front of the chapel's entrance: Goda, Shannon, and Cannon, which meant that all the servants of the morning shift had gathered. A short while ago, Genji had spoken to Rosa, telling her what the situation was. However, without laying eyes on it directly, she definitely hadn't been able to understand. It was probably the same for all the servants gathered here as well. Without seeing it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have been able to understand what was going on. On the door at the entrance to the chapel was something very large, drawn with a creepy, stringy paint that made one think of blood. Something like a creepy magic circle. Apparently my game is lagging or something. What is this? When was it drawn here? The servants looked to each other. Goda was the first to open his mouth. My apologies. We don't usually enter this building, so we don't know when it was made. Then, who was the first person to find it? It was me. When I went to the dining hall to clean up the tea set, I found a memo with chapel written on it. Shannon held out the memo with a shaking hand. Whose handwriting is it? It isn't Nissan or Nason's. After that, you came here and found this, right? Yes. Rosa-sama, look at this. What? Happy Halloween for... What? Shannon pointed at a single line of English written below the creepy magic circle. Until it had been pointed out to her, she had thought it was just another part of the magic circle. There, the following words were written in English. Happy Halloween for Maria. Happy Halloween for Maria. This creepy magic circle was for Maria. Happy Halloween. Yesterday, only one person had said Happy Halloween to Maria. The key phrase matched. It was the Golden Witch, Beatrice. What about Maria? She should be sleeping with her cousins, right? Did you check? My apologies. We just now realized that Maria-sama's name was written here. We still have not checked. Quickly. What are you doing? I'll go check on Maria and come back. Tell Kraus, Nissan, and the rest too. After that, follow their instructions. After saying that much, Rosa finally noticed that something was odd. Her own rank in this family conference was the lowest of the four siblings. Why had she been the only one called during an abnormal situation like this, when the other siblings hadn't been, even if Maria's name had popped up? Could it be... Huh? What? Yes. We tried to contact Kraus-sama, but we couldn't find him. And Madame was not in her room. Judging by the condition of the sheets, she might not have returned to her bed at all last night. Rosa felt something creepy crawling slowly up her back. Did you check inside the chapel? No, not yet. We tried, but... Actually, the lock to the chapel is special, so the master key will not work. There is a single key that can open it, but that key is missing from the key box. She didn't want to get closer to the door with the creepy magic circle if she could. Rosa readied herself and approached, then tried pushing and pulling the doorknob. All she felt was the resistance of the sturdy lock. We searched to see if there was a window we could enter through, but I think we have to break one of the windows if we wanted to check inside. What do you think? There's no way I can give you approval to do something like that. This is Father's precious chapel. At that time, the events of the previous day swirled around in the back of Rosa's mind. That's right, when I met that witch in the rose garden. Didn't she hand Maria an envelope? Yeah, there's no mistake. She did hand it over. When Maria tried to open it, the witch told her not to do it yet, and then she surely said, "The time to open that will come soon." Rosa was sure. There could be no mistake. The envelope Maria had received was... After dashing back to the guest house, Rosa approached the cousin's room while hiding her footsteps, softly opened the door and peered inside. From the inside, she could hear the healthy snores typical of young people. There were 4 children, and Maria was there, sleeping soundly. After breathing a sigh of relief, she entered the room with quiet footsteps. She was after Maria's handbag, which was resting on the sofa. Maria always liked carrying her treasures around with her. She was probably emulating how her mother always carried her makeup with her. Of course, she was just imitating her mother, so everything on the inside was junk. In Maria's case, it was full of small, creepy occult items, notebooks describing things of that nature, and so on. Rosa had never been happy to see her daughter walking around with things like that, which weren't girlish at all. However, trying to force Maria to stop had resulted in a big fight, so she decided to let it be. Here. This is it. A Western envelope with a crest of the gold eagle. When she took it out of the bag, she realized there was a heavy, vaguely cylindrical object inside. She could tell by its feel and its weight. There was no doubt. This was a key. After turning around and checking that Maria was still sound asleep, Rosa tore open the envelope and the contents spilled out into her palm. It was a key with an old and intricate design. Rosa gripped that key and dashed out. Battler seemed to have noticed that sound, but after grumbling and turning over in his sleep, he started snoring again. Not his turn. Genji-san, could this key be the key to the chapel? Where did you... Yes, this is the key to the chapel. Rosa approached the creepy magic circle once again, and put the key in the keyhole. There was a strong resistance. After it resisted for a short while, it stopped resisting with a clunk. Then, squeaking with a noise that hurt one's ears, it slowly began to open. Is anyone there? Her voice reverberated throughout the massive room. Of course, there was no answer. The chapel had a high ceiling, and the air was cold, and even on this rainy, unsettling day it felt sacred for some reason. The servants timidly followed after Rosa. Rosa-sama, look at that. Canon noticed it immediately and pointed. Over there was the altar. In the place that would normally have a pastor preaching of God's love, there was a table that shouldn't have been there. At first it looked like a dining table. There actually were gorgeous plates and utensils placed there, making it look like a child's birthday party or something. On closer inspection, the surrounding area had been decorated with pumpkins and black and orange ribbons. They were probably Halloween decorations. And there were people seated at the table. 3 people on each side, facing each other, seated in chairs. They could be recognized at a glance. Kraus and his wife, Eva and her husband, Rudolph and his wife. But if you wanted to be sure, you'd still have to go even closer and check. Oh, there goes my guess, mostly. Because they seemed almost like dolls. Rosa and the rest had opened the door, entered all at once with the sound of many footsteps, and called out, asking if anyone was there. And yet, there had been no reaction. Even if Rosa and the rest assumed they were being ignored, you'd still expect there to be some kind of reaction. And there hadn't even been that. But at first, it felt like someone had set down some dolls that greatly resembled those people. By now, it wasn't just Rosa, Shannon and Cannon and even Goda. They were all fighting frantically with a creepy emotion that grasped their hearts. Nii-san. Nee-san. As she walked towards the altar, she called out again, but there was still no reaction. Yes, by now, Rosa was sure of it. She was sure these weren't dolls, but the people themselves. This is... They grew close enough to see clearly what lay on the table. It still looked like an adorable banquet, reminiscent of a child's birthday party. Plates piled up with sweets, cute pitchers with drinks, all kinds of pumpkin-shaped ornaments. They were all decorated in a Halloween style. And while this probably wasn't the time to be thinking it, Maria would surely have been delighted to see all this. That was the state of the table they sat in front of, apparently asleep. It was an eerie scene, as though a small, fun-looking Halloween party had been stopped in time. They're all... sleeping? Happy Halloween for Maria. When she approached even closer to them, she realized that there were snacks scattered all over the floor. Candies, cookies, soda, and chocolates, all with heavily fantasy-themed packaging. They were all scattered across the carpet, covered with blackberry and cranberry jam. Rose and the rest finally realized what the situation was. It was a Halloween party. A banquet for those not of this world. Kraus, Natsuhi, Eva, Hideyoshi, Rudolph, and Kiri were seated in chairs, apparently asleep, but all dead. How could you tell that they were dead and not simply sleeping? That was because they'd been vertically sliced open from their chests to their stomachs. Kraus-sama! How cruel. The 6 of them had sat down at a Halloween party before having their stomachs split open, killing them. Then the jam covering the floor must be what overflowed from their stomachs once they stuffed themselves completely, right? No. The contents of their stomachs had been scattered all over the floor. And that wasn't all. Out of their stomachs it was almost as though they'd poured out, as though snacks had overflowed from there. Candies and cookies, soda and chocolates had poured out, stained with blood, and had scattered across the floor. What could have happened to cause this? It's almost as though their stomachs were stuffed full to bursting with sweets, and all poured out when their stomachs split open. Rosa remembered a certain shocking meal, a turkey that had been served at her own birthday. When it had been cut open with a knife, it flowed out one of her favorite foods. But since she hadn't been told what was inside, the deep red ketchup omelet rice poured out like bloody maggots, pulsing, dripping, slimy, pulpy, squelching. The trauma of her youth was revived. Rosa felt the monster raging inside her stomach as the acid started to rise. Unable to hold back, she threw it all up on the floor. Her empty stomach had nothing but stomach acid. The scene in front of her was no fun Halloween party now. The three couples were enshrined right there, their stomachs vertically wrenched open with a ugh. So many snacks had been stuffed in there, pulpy, squishy. Blood and guts and sweat were overflowing onto the floor. Bloodstained, sticky, sloppy, pulpy, sweet snacks that made your fingers stick together. Yummy, yummy. But stained with entrails, sloppy, pulpy. What was that I stepped on just now that it didn't feel like candy or a cookie or soda or a chocolate? I'm scared. What did I step on? I can't even look at the bottom of my foot. What a gruesome Halloween party. Indeed, what a mess. From far away, it looked truly beautiful, fantastical, and fun. But from up close, it was horrible and disgusting, yet somehow still beautiful. Rose's wild thoughts tried as best they could to escape her throat with a loud voice that was neither a scream nor a roar. Kraus-sama. This is horrible. Just horrible. Call an ambulance. Call the police. That's right. The police. Police. If a word so tied to reality hadn't come out of Goto's mouth, Rose and the rest would probably have found themselves unable to escape that nightmarish party even now. But it was because they thought the police might be able to do something. If they didn't keep yelling about the police, they felt as though another seat might be set up at this Seamus party, and given to them. Their own chests felt like they were expanding unpleasantly from the inside, rumbling, churning, and it was surely because candy was about to overflow from their stomachs. Rosa, once again tortured by a desire to vomit, threw her stomach acid up on the floor, and then she searched to see if there was any candy in it. Anyway, Rosa coughed violently again, forcefully splitting out her stomach acid that had been burning in her throat. She realized that by now her whole body had been covered in a filthy sweat. Genji-san, Shannon-chan, please contact father and ask for instructions. Goto-san, go with Candy-kun and call the police. And have Dr. Najo come here. Why even bringing Dr. Najo here? It's a bit too late for medical care. The servants accepted their orders and dashed outside. After watching them leave, Rosa once again stared at her siblings with whom she'd spent good times and bad, and their partners. Though there could be nothing more tragic than this scene. For some reason, she was tempted to describe these fantastical deaths as beautiful. You ask, why can't Maria have anything nice? What are you talking about? She had a Halloween party right there. That's an odd situation. They aren't here. Where'd they go? The servant room and the kitchen are both empty. What in the world happened? Oh! Mama! Where's Mama? A letter! A letter I got from Beato! Give it back! Give it back! Perplexing. Battler-kun, are you sure it was Aunt Rosa? Well, even I was half asleep, so I'm not too sure. But I get the feeling that, in the early morning, Aunt Rosa came in and fished around in Maria's handbag. I figured there was probably a tube of toothpaste or something in there. Why would there be a tube of toothpaste in Maria's handbag? Looks like you were a little more than half asleep. Why would there be toothpaste in a handbag? Battler vaguely remembered Rosa entering the cousin's room. Also, when Maria woke up before the rest of them, she started rampaging around, saying that someone had opened the envelope she'd been keeping safe. Putting two and two together, they figured that Rosa had probably come and opened the envelope. A letter from the Golden Witch. I wonder what was inside. I don't know. But that envelope was her grandfather's personal use, and it had the Ushimiya family crest on it. Whatever was inside, it must have had some connection to the family conference. She hadn't let anyone touch it. But yesterday, Maria had shown that envelope off to Battler and the rest of the whole lot, so they remembered it well. Mama, give it back! Mama, give it back! Well, it's Maria's handbag. Why would it be in Maria's handbag? She's a kid. And an odd one at that, so... I don't know. Well, if you're right, it'd have to be pretty important. Why would this mighty witch give something that important to Maria? I don't get it. Every once in a while, the refreshing morning atmosphere was completely wiped out by the sound of thunder. It was only natural. Since the moment they'd woken up, they hadn't met anyone else. It felt like only they were left, as if the mansion had become an empty husk. Hey! Anyone there? Answer me! Jessica called out in the hallway, and eventually an answer came back. It came from the entrance hall. I can hear you. Has something happened? It's Dr. Nanjo. Thank goodness. It looks like everyone but us hasn't disappeared from this island after all. Dr. Nanjo, good morning. Sorry, but do you know where our parents went? Dear me. I only just woke up and came here, you see. I have no way of knowing for sure, but let's see. It was only natural. Nanjo was a guest, just like the rest of them. He'd come just now to pass the time in the parlor until breakfast. Dr. Nanjo, Mama took it. Mama took my letter. Give it back, give it back. Maria buried her face in Nanjo's plump stomach, sobbing and crying. Nanjo could do nothing but be bewildered by the ruckus so early in the morning. This ruckus, huh? Someone's running this way. Jessica, someone's coming. From down the hall, they could sense people running hurriedly. They saw Goda and Cannon coming towards them. Normally, it would be disgraceful for a servant to run inside the mansion. And yet, Battler and the rest didn't even think to question that now. Maria's sobbing had become so unmanageable, they wanted to ask someone, anyone, where Rosa was. But the two servants seemed to have bigger things on their mind than Jessica, who was waving at them. Goda flew into the servant room, and when Cannon noticed that Nanjo was there, he bowed and approached the doctor at a quick pace before whispering something into his ear. What did you say? Rosa-san did? Yes. I will guide you, so please accompany me. Understood. This way. Without saying anything more than that, Cannon finally noticed Jessica and bowed to her. But he wasn't calm. He dashed back down the corridor by which he came, followed by Nanjo. By looking at how hurriedly they were, Battler and the rest realized that yes, something bad really had happened. They saw Goda through the door to the servant room, which had been flung open. He was holding a receiver and violently pressing the hook. From that, they realized he was trying to call a hospital or the police. In any event, he was trying to call someone because a serious emergency had occurred. Let's have a look. Yeah. Mama, give it back! Give back my letter! It's an invitation to the Golden Land! They didn't know what, but something was happening. Battler and the rest chased after Cannon and Nanjo. And then we realized Cannon-kun had called Dr. Nanjo, but he hadn't called us, so we shouldn't have gone with him. I wonder if Alice regretted her excess curiosity when she chased after the rabbit holding a clock. No, you mustn't go in. You mustn't look. Jessica-chan, no! Mother, Father, what happened? What the hell is this? This goes way beyond bad taste. Isn't taking someone's life bad enough? What the hell is this? Going to all the trouble after they died of sitting them on chairs, slicing their stomachs, and pulling their entrails out? You went to all the trouble of stuffing their stomachs full of sweets? Why? Why the hell would you do something so fucked up? Damn it. Damn it. Nice job, you bastard. Just great. Just great. It would be best if everyone went outside. They certainly wouldn't want you all to see them like this. Nacho told the children to go outside, but no one listened. Rosa-san, please tell them. If they keep looking at something like this, it will do nothing but harm. Rosa regretted her own carelessness. She should have realized that the children would eventually come here. She should have quickly locked up instead of standing around stunned. Still, the children did come here. They had seen it. Surely, at this very moment, they were having a sight burned into their eyes. That was far more grotesque than the shocking meal Rosa had witnessed in her youth. While she hugged Maria, who seemed to be too shocked to show any emotion at this gruesome scene, Rosa cried for them and their parents. The four groaning and crying voices, their sadness, continued to echo in a place that should have known God's love. You piece of crap. Again? Another one of these murders? And this time you made it all elaborate, killing them like it's a total joke. I was rather hoping you'd thank me, not cry out in grief. Thank you? Did you say I should thank you, you old bitch? Damn it. If there's something wrong with your ears, I'll cut them both off so you can hear better. Why should I have to see that insane way of killing and say, "Oh, thank you very much, Beatrice-sama. I'll beat your brains out." In the last game, you lamented the fact that you couldn't see your parents' faces after they died, yes? So this time I left them. Didn't touch them. Take a good look, for without a doubt your father and the rest have been killed. Really? What a nice treat. I'm so fucking happy. I swore I'd plow your face after I choked the life out of you. I'll take that back now. I'll rip out your guts instead. Don't give in to emotion. Don't stop thinking. My game has already begun, right? I decided to leave you neat and tidy corpses this time. Do you know why? When you denied my existence in the last game, you used this line of thinking. Their faces were crushed, so the identity of the corpses can't be confirmed. Therefore, we can't eliminate the possibility that fake corpses were prepared to create an alibi. Unless that possibility is denied, a human culprit theory can still be built. What did you say? So, Battler, is it okay to leave the examination of the corpses to Nanjo? Isn't it traditional in mystery novels for the doctor who performs such examinations to be an accomplice? Then don't leave the examination to him. Do it yourself. Make completely sure that without a doubt, the 6 corpses are the 6 people they're supposed to be. That they really, really are dead, not just pretending. If you wish to confirm that your father and mother have been killed by having their stomachs cut open and their entrails poured out, you'd better stick your hand inside their stomachs and feel around. I won't cry. Damn it. Damn it. I won't cry. Battler suddenly yelled. His tears were still dripping down, but as though scolding himself for being a sissy, he slapped his face hard several times with both hands. Even so, the tears still wouldn't stop. However, he felt a hot blaze in both of his eyes. Whoever's responsible for this piece of work, I'll make them pay back their debt completely. So this isn't the time to cry. Gotta think about what to do. It's useless. It's all useless. If you've got enough time to cry, then think. This is no time to let yourself cry. Rather than genuine anger, maybe it was more of an evasive anger to blot out his sadness. However, it gave a little courage to George and Jessica, who'd been crushed by the sadness. That's right. Even if we cry, it won't change the reality of what has happened. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Then what should we do? What should I do? For Mom and Dad's sakes. Rosa-sama, I have returned. Goda-san, what happened with the police? What did they say to do? Did they say when they think they'll be able to get here? As to that, it seems the phones have broken down. I also tried the emergency wireless, but, maybe it's the weather, but that isn't working either. What did you say? So, we can't contact the police? It's that person! They did something to the phone line! Made it so we can't reach the cops! Once you heard that the phones had broken down, Jessica immediately decided that it was the work of the mysterious guest. Her eyes were bright red after so much crying, and they began to grow even redder with rage. There's no need to talk about it, right? I understand everything. That's right. I get it. Who killed Dad and Mom? It's obviously her. It's gotta be that witch or whoever who came yesterday. I'll grab her by the collar. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Jessica-chan. Wait! Go-san, Kanon-kun, go. Yes, ma'am. My lady, wait. Covering her uncomfortable sadness with anger, Jessica ran outside, torn apart by emotion. Thinking about it hastily, maybe the mystery guest who'd arrived yesterday, Beatrice, was suspicious. However, in that instant, there's absolutely no proof that she was the culprit. At this moment, she's just another guest, no more, no less. So Rosa, making an adult decision, was forced to stop Jessica in her harsh, rash rampage. Goda and Kennen picked up on this and immediately chased after her. But to guess that no one invited Beatrice to be the culprit. I understand how Jessica feels. I wish I could think that too. It doesn't matter who. I want someone to be the culprit so I can bash them right in the face. But before that, we need a clear understanding of what's going on. Who is this Beatrice? I haven't even seen her face. If you're looking for her face, it decorates the big portrait in the mansion. You still don't remember after looking at it for so long? Come on, Maria. What's so funny in a situation like this? Beatrice is a witch. And the ceremony to open the door to the Gold Land has finally begun. These 6 people are sacrifices. Come, let us begin the witches' banquet. Tonight is Halloween, so now the witches will gather to celebrate. Maria, don't they always tell you not to laugh with that creepy voice? The crisp sound of Rosa slapping Maria's cheek echoed through the high-ceilinged chapel. Ever since it started raining yesterday, no, ever since the island was swallowed by the typhoon, I felt as though something was wrong. It was bright and sunny when I arrived from Rokkenjima, but since I'd gotten up early and was sleepy, I took a nap. When I woke up, it had already started raining, and ever since that time, suddenly a mysterious visitor calling herself the Golden Witch Beatrice arrived, and it felt like I was sinking bit by bit into a bizarre world. What the heck happened while I was napping? Am I supposed to believe this island was sealed off inside a different world, where common sense doesn't apply? Who is this person called Beatrice? Is some unknown person trying to involve themselves with this inheritance problem, just like our parents were freaking out about at dinner last night? Or is the culprit this witch from the Legend of Gold, just like Maria said? Even if we set Jessica's temper aside, given the circumstances, it's probably safe to say that this visitor person is the most suspicious. But we mustn't make up our minds based on that alone. It's useless, it's all useless. I smacked my face with both hands again, cooling off my brains before they overloaded, even though it might have been a wasted effort. This is one of Grandfather's envelopes. On a tray piled up with sweets that decorated the table, George and Nikki found a Western envelope that had the Ushima family crest done on it in gold leaf, and it was unopened. Which means it's probably meant for us, right? If it was something Dad and the others read, it should be open. It seems your reasoning is correct. It's written right here. someone wrote to those who remain. Is that a letter the culprit left? What's inside? Aniki, let's open it. After nodding silently, George Aniki broke the seal. A folded letter came out. I'll read it. Welcome to Rokkenjima, members of the Ushirmiya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family, employed by Kinso-sama himself. That letter really was a joke. This Beatrice, who called herself the family alchemist, had announced that she was collecting the gold she lent grandfather along with interest, and that interest was everything grandfather had created. Since this tragedy was right before our eyes as this paragraph was being read aloud, it clearly wasn't referring to just the wealth that grandfather had built up. It was literal. Everything that grandfather had created. In other words, all of grandfather's descendants were included in the interest. You bastard! What a screwed up contract. Lives as interest for gold, you say? That's almost like a contract with the devil, isn't it? You thinking that makes you look more like a witch? Huh, don't make me laugh. Special clause. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold in this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. Kinso-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. In other words, it's something like this. If these murders represent her collecting interest, then she's telling us to try and find the gold she gave grandfather, if we want her to stop. And she's also saying that the secret point of the gold is hidden in the portrait epitaph. So, basically, this is a letter of challenge from the witch. She's telling us to try and solve the code that points to the hidden gold, if we can. And if we can't, she'll keep collecting the interest as planned. I'll beat you to death. Bring it on. Battler-kun, look, look. The table is covered with sweets. So even though those things were right in the open, we just assumed they were sweets too. I mean, come on, you see them a lot, right? You know, those boxes of chocolate shaped like gold ingots. This is no box of candy. It's the real thing. This is a real gold bar. It's inscribed with the crest of the one-winged eagle. I heard Mother talking about this earlier. This is a gold bar from Grandfather's Legend of the Gold. Gold ingots weighing a full 10 kilograms. All 3 of them were piled up in the very center of the table. It was where cake would be placed if it was a birthday party. In other words, this was without a doubt the birthday cake of the party known as the family conference. And these are really 4 9s quality gold ingots. It's worth about 60 million yen. Dumbass! That's too cheap! Our parents have been killed, and all you've got is this pile of just 60 million yen in gold? Don't take us for fools, damn it! So, it has begun, Beatrice. It's not like anyone can solve this riddle anyway. So Beato will definitely win. Quickly, open the door to the Golden Land, and take me with you. Gonna eat gold, huh? But out of spite, huh? Gold is surprisingly heavy. I've actually held some. But just a tiny little amount. Its weight, a gold bar is heavy. But yeah. That'll be it for today. That's gonna be a hard one to try and explain. Alright, so holy cow. Stuffed Halloween death party with 60 million yen of gold. And dead people. Yeah. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you for this wonderful thing you've just shown us. Of course we're going to be saying that. Aye. But yeah. My guess was half right? I at least got 3 of the people dead, correct? Missed everybody else, but I'll take that as a pass. maybe. Anyway, happy late Halloween. Happy late Halloween. Yeah, it's November's Halloween. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that'll be it for today. Maybe you guys can try and figure out it on your own. You can probably find the Witch's Epitaph online or some such shit if you want to try and post it out. I'm not going to look at any spoilers, any nothing. I'm going to try and figure everything out the best I can on my own. That's a tough one. Anyway, goodbye, all. Later, all. Don't ever say goodbye. Say see you later, because you never know when you'll see them again next.